Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Tip Off, the Memo Okur Trade Edition. I thought I'd get one out for you tonight rather than waiting for tomorrow morning. The first thing that just has to be discussed, I know it's been mentioned by numerous people, is Memo was truly just one of the best guys we've ever dealt with. I knew him a lot because of the time he spent with the kids when I got to see him in those environments. Happiest I've seen him in a long time was on the bench before the scrimmage the other night with both his daughter and his son. They've worked very hard to have their daughter assimilate to the United States, and they speak Turkish at home. And the wife was even going to classes, preschool classes with the daughter, so she would learn English and understand. And just a wonderful, wonderful family. A great guy, a super spirit. Fabulous sense of humor on the team bus. Cutting yet kind is the way I would describe him. And competitiveness. If you ever kind of jabbed at him enough, then you really saw this fire. Numerous players that he played saw it as well when he. If anyone kind of did that whole thing where they stood in his way, Memo was the first one to kind of walk through someone. The comeback from this injury was fabulous and a great testament to the player and he is, the fight that he has, and hopefully he's going to be able to play very, very well. So with this great guy, why would the Jazz do this? Well, because really at this point, Mehmet Okur is an asset to them. Most of these players are an asset to the Utah Jazz, and Kevin O'Connor's job is to figure out how to best utilize that asset for the future to build around, in all likelihood, Burks, Cantor, Hayward, and Derek Favors, with probably Favors being the key piece. Memo at 32 years old, as great a player as he's been for the Jazz, the various memories in Houston in the playoff series or other spots along the way, at this point was an asset. And his asset is a $10.8 million contract that expires at the end of the year. It's cruel. It seems harsh, but that's the reality. And frankly, as one person said to me today who's inside the league, said, well, Kevin O'Connor's rolling. Kevin O'Connor is rolling. He is forming this team, rebuilding it, and going to work. And I think it's clear he has a little bit more freedom maybe than he's had in the past. And he's got a vision of what he's trying to get done, and he's trying to maximize the asset. I had breakfast with him the other day in Portland. At the end of the breakfast, I said, Darrell Arthur's out. Anything on Memphis you like? He says, you can't, he looked at me and goes, you can't rush these things. Someone's going to come to you with the right time, with the right time, and the right offer. Well, obviously that was today. Brook Lopez gets hurt in New Jersey. They don't have a backup center, and they offer to take Mehmet Okur without the Jazz bringing back any other pieces and give Jazz the complete $10.8 million trade exception. A trade exception is a funny thing for you as a fan to be grasping at and look at and say, well, that's great. But it is pretty great because truly what was Memo to the Jazz as an asset, not as a human, but as an asset. As an asset, what Mehmet Okur was to the Utah Jazz was a $10.8 million expiring contract that they had up until March 15th of this year to trade. Now, on March 15th, the trade deadline went by, and Memo simply became a player they could use as a sign and trade. And likely Memo's a $2 million, $1 million player, maybe nothing if that Achilles really never recovers. So they had till March 15th to use this asset. They still have this asset. It is now called a trade exception. And really, in a sense, it's almost more valuable because it comes with no salary attached. Right now, New Jersey's paying $10.8 million for Memo, and they needed him as a player. It was a pretty unique circumstance. But for most people, what they want is a $10.8 million trade exception or a contract to come off their books. In this case, it's not coming off their books. It's not any money. The Jazz aren't paying any money. They have this piece. And the key to this trade is the Jazz had till March 15th. They now have till December 22nd of 2012. They bought time. I wrote about this. If you don't follow me and you learn better and understand better by reading something, I wrote about this probably in my grumbled bad grammar, poor English writing style up on Locked On Jazz. But that's what they did. They extended time. Now, on the playing floor, they did some other things. They really have now forced Tyrone Corbin with no other choice but to give Derek Favors and Enes Kanter combined between the two of them somewhere in the range of 40 to 50 minutes a night. And my thought on that is there's 96 minutes of big guy minutes in a game. And Millsap's probably going to get somewhere around 30 of them, and Jefferson's going to get somewhere around 30 of them. And now you got another 36 minutes to be played, and Favors and Cantor are going to combine every night for those 36. The wild card in this is that Jeremy Evans is playing quite well. And maybe there's some belief that Jeremy Evans can be an 8 or 9 minute a night player as a fifth big, as a small power forward, and the Jazz suddenly feel comfortable using that. But frankly, what the Jazz had in Memo Okur was a $10.8 million fourth big. You can't have Millsap's your third big. And if he's being enough of a trooper and enough of a stud to come off the bench, as I talked about on tip-off earlier, he's no longer tradable. Now he's an incredible asset to your franchise as one of the best third bigs in the NBA. And if you're asking him to come off the bench, you better give him the time he deserves as that player. He's earned that time. He's shown he can play. And in the right matchups, if you can protect him enough, he can be fabulous. So now give him his time. Paul's earned that. He's shown that respect to the team. He's 25 to 30 minutes a night. Jefferson's 30 minutes a night. You've only got 46 more minutes. And Memo Okur was the fourth big, possibly taking somewhere between 15 and 20 of those a night. Favors suddenly has a hard time getting enough of his minutes. Cantor gets none. And you have a fourth big earning $10.8 million. Now you have the same exact asset that you had prior in Memo Okur, a $10.8 million asset that you can trade for. You can go trade and bring back $10.8 million worth of talent. But it's not precluding your youngsters from playing, and the trade exception extends all the way till December 22nd, 2012. Plus you save $10.8 million, plus you got a second-round draft pick. To me, that's why this trade makes a lot of sense. The part that doesn't make sense is Memo's a great guy. Memo's one of the best. We love Memo. Memo for three. But that's not what this business is about. It's cruel. It means we have to buy jerseys a lot. But Kevin O'Connor's rolling, and the pieces are coming together, and the Jazz just extended an asset and are forcing the young guys on the floor. That, to me, tough to swallow, because I'm going to miss that crazy European music on the bus. But it's a good deal for the Utah Jazz. That's your Memo Okur tip-off.